Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at 3 amplifiers from OSD Audio. These are digital amplifiers, Class D. Here we have the HTD 4150, the HTD 6150, and the HTD 8150. So we'll go over all the specs, get these unboxed, and we're going to take a look at these in this video. We're going to go through this pretty quickly because I want to get this information out to you as soon as possible, because today they're running a special $200 off of each one of these amplifiers on Amazon Prime for Prime Day. So let's get these unboxed and let's talk about it. So as you can see here, each box is double boxed. All right, inside the box we got just some paperwork, nothing much there. Go ahead and get this out. Now, one thing about Class D amplifiers is they are a lot lighter than your typical like Class AB or Class A amplifiers. So as you can see, not much to an unboxing on this. Wrapped in plastic, we've got thick padding, and then we've got our IEC power cable here. That's going to be a 3-prong IEC power cable. Now we'll take a closer look in just a moment, but I can already see something I really like, and that's the fact that these come with the rack ears. So those of you that have an AV rack in your system, that's going to be super handy. So let's go ahead and get the other ones unboxed and we'll take a closer look at the specs of all 3 of these amplifiers. Now when I first unboxed the HTD 4150, the 6150, and the 8150, it almost appeared like there were some scratches, and I knew that had to be some plastic, but there's not a tab on these, so you'll have to kind of get a fingernail or something underneath there, but make sure you pull that off or it's just going to look really, really bad. So looking at the front, we've got a 4-channel amplifier, a 6-channel amplifier, and an 8-channel amplifier. Really clean look. I like this brushed aluminum. We've got each one of the channels numbered, and then we just have a simple on and off power switch on the front. Another thing you can see here, we've already got the rack ears installed. So if you have an AV rack, that's just going to make it really simple to go ahead and add that to your rack. You can either install it with these or simply remove the 3 screws on the ends here, and then you can remove that. And then here you can see you've got the little notch for the back of the rack. Now OSD provides a really thick high gauge power cord, so we'll go ahead and get these plugged up and see what the LCD panel looks like when it's powered on. All right, let's go ahead and power up each one of the amplifiers. Turn these on. And so now you can see we've got blue indicators indicating all the amps are working properly, and a green LCD light for the power to let you know that it's on. So I'm going to go ahead and power these back down. Let's take a look at the rear. All right, let's take a look at the rear of these amplifiers. Over here on the far left, we've got inputs and outputs for our trigger. This allows you to connect it to an AVR. And so when you turn that AVR on or off, it's going to power these on and off. You can, of course, adjust the dimmer on the front as far as how bright you want that. It's just a variable adjustment for those LEDs on the front. Here you can see we've got channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've got gain structure on the top. We've got the channel indicator here. We've got an RCA input, and then your speaker outputs here. You can run these pair either in stereo or bridge mono. Now channels 1 and 2, we have some additional options. We've got a low pass filter either to the left. We can turn that off, or we can have a high pass filter. And then right here is where you would adjust the frequency for that. So for now, we're going to put that back in the middle. Over here, we have a ground isolation switch, the main power, and then your IEC power port. So here's where this gets really interesting and how we have a lot of flexibility with these new amplifiers. So here we'll start off with the top one. We have a 4-channel amplifier. So we can connect one speaker here, one speaker here, one speaker here, and one speaker here. In 8 ohms, so if your speakers are 8 ohm nominal, you're going to send 100 watts to each one of those 4 speakers. If your speakers are 4 ohm nominal impedance, you're going to be sending 175 watts to each one of those 4 speakers. But let's say you have 2 speakers and a passive subwoofer. A passive subwoofer is just one that does not have a built-in internal amplifier. So one thing that's really cool about this is we can bridge mono. So we'd move this switch over to the right. And what that's going to do is combine these two channels into basically one channel. And so instead of getting 100 watts to 8 ohms or 175 watts to 4 ohms, we're actually now going to combine both of those channels, and we're going to be sending 400 watts into 8 ohms to that one speaker or that one subwoofer. So let's think through some practical ways that you could use this 4-channel amplifier. Of course, you could run it into 4 speakers. You may have 2 speakers and you want to bi-amp them. So you'd run, let's say for instance, this one to the high frequencies, this to the low frequencies of the left channel, and this to the high frequency and this to the low frequency of the right channel. So that's one option. Maybe you want to use this for your 4 Atmos speakers in a home theater setup. So again, you'd be sending 100 watts or 175 watts depending on the impedance of those speakers. Another cool option is, let's say you want to use this for an outdoor living area, and let's say you have a single subwoofer that is passive, so it doesn't have a built-in amplifier, and you have 2 speakers, maybe 2 rock speakers outside or 2 wall-mounted speakers. So what we could do is we could bridge mono, move this switch over to the right, and it's going to combine these 2 channels together. And so instead of getting 100 watts per channel to each of these in 8 ohms or 175 into 4 ohms, we're now combining those and we're sending 400 watts into 8 ohms to that subwoofer. Then you could use these in stereo and send this to one speaker and this to another speaker. So that would be a 2.1 system using just that one amplifier. So this 4-channel amplifier could be configured as a 4-channel, a 3-channel, 1, 2, and then combine these 3, or a 2-channel, 1, 2. You could bridge mono both of those and just send more power to your main speakers. So that is really flexible there. Moving down to the 6150, we have a 6-channel amplifier. And so this can be configured as a 6, a 5, a 4, or a 3-channel amplifier. So let's say you have a Dolby Atmos system and you have 6 in-ceiling speakers. So we'd send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each one would get 100 watts per channel into 8 ohms or 175 watts into 4 ohms. We could combine these 2 channels up here using the bridge mono, and then that would power one speaker or one subwoofer, and then we could use these in regular stereo. So you'd have 4 channels here and 1 channel here, so that would be a 5-channel configuration. If you wanted to do a 4-channel configuration, you could do stereo pair here. We could combine these 2, 400 watts there, combine these 2, 400 watts here, so you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we could bridge mono all of these, and then we'd send 400 watts to, let's say, your left speaker, 400 watts to a center speaker, and maybe 400 watts to a right speaker. That'd be a great amplifier for an LCR for a home theater setup. I'm going to switch those back to stereo. And then lastly down here we've got the 8150. So this is an 8-channel amplifier. So we could configure this one as an 8-channel, 7-channel, 6-channel, 5-channel, or a 4-channel amplifier. So let's think how this could be utilized. In a home theater setup, I could see this being used for 4 Atmos speakers overhead and 4 surround sound speakers. So again, you'd be sending 100 watts or 175 watts to each one of those speakers depending on the impedance of those speakers. If you wanted this to be a 7-channel, we'd do stereo here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'd switch this one to bridge mono, and that would combine these 2, sending 400 watts into 8 ohms into that speaker. Maybe that's a subwoofer. If you wanted to use it as a 6-channel, we'd leave these as stereo, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'd bridge mono this one, so that would get 400 watts, bridge mono this one, that would get 400 watts. So again, these could be 4 speakers, and then maybe these could be 2 passive subwoofers. So as you can see, this can be configured all the way down to as low as a 4-channel amplifier if you want to utilize all the channels. So we would switch this to bridge mono, bridge mono, bridge mono, bridge mono, and now we're sending 400 watts, 400 watts, 400 watts, and 400 watts. So as you can see, these amplifiers offer a ton of flexibility. We've got really nice binding posts. Now, because of their price point, they do not have XLR inputs, and so you'll be able to just only use these with RCA inputs, but it's still a great option, super affordable. And another thing I didn't even show you is on the top, we've got this really nice OSD kind of embossed into this. I could see these being utilized in an outdoor system. You could utilize these to power subwoofers, Atmos speakers, surround speakers, and a whole entire home theater setup, just depending on how many channels that you need. And you can customize this. You can have 8 channels down to 4. This one you can do 6 channels down to 3. And this one you can use 4 channels down to 2. And so super, super flexible with a good amount of power. Now, because these are Class D amplifiers, you should be able to stack these because they're going to run very efficient, and they even have an internal fan that'll help keep these cool as well. Now, I'd love to know what you think about the new OSD amplifiers. Let me know down in the comments below. And again, today only, they're running a $200 off special on Amazon, so I'll post links to that down in the description if you're wanting to pick one of those up, or more than one, for your home theater setup or your outdoor setup. Now, that $200 is only applicable to 1 unit, so you won't be able to get 200, 200, 200, but you'll at least be able to save $200 off of 1 amplifier. Well, I hope you guys have an incredible week. God bless, and we will catch you in the next video.